The last Harry Potter movie in the film series was also my first midnight premiere. This was right in the middle of high school for me. Check it out.
We are here at the midnight premiere of Harry Potter Deathy Hallows Part 2! This is the big IMAX screen. I do not know if you can see it, but it is there, and these seats are good.
Needless to say, it was a night I will never forget. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2. Alright, this is it. We have come to the end. So Deathly Hallows Part 2 picks up like 5 minutes after the end of Deathly Hallows Part 1. Harry and the gang escape Malfoy Manor thanks to the sacrifice of Dobby. So after his little funeral, they decide to take a breather at Shell Cottage where Bill Weasley and Fleur Delacour are living. And soon after that, thanks to the help of Griphook the Goblin, we go over to Gringotts to get another Horcrux. They retrieve it, they get out of there on a dragon. I think that's all done in like the first 20 minutes of the film. And after that, we learn that the remainder of the Horcruxes are at Hogwarts. And so that's where most of the movie takes place, which, of course, the final throwdown has to be at Hogwarts. And by final throwdown, I really do mean that. This is a war, like a full-scale war. As soon as Harry Potter gets to Hogwarts, Voldemort and his Death Eaters follow right after him, and they're gonna start attacking the school. Now, Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort is really at his most terrifying in this movie, because he's actually growing weaker. With each Horcrux Harry and his friends, spoiler alert, kill, that's part of his soul, that's part of his life. Each of the 7 parts of his soul is getting wiped out. Voldemort knows that there's actually a chance that he could die, so he's giving Hogwarts everything he's got. And all the supporting characters know that this is the final showdown as well. Ron and Hermione are doing everything they can to find another Horcrux so they can kill it. The professors are casting protective spells around the school, making this giant shield. I can't stress enough how, epic this really is. And of course, one of the biggest supporting characters in the entire series, Severus Snape. This movie is the one where we learn what he's all about, and I want to talk about it. Let's get this out of the way. If you're watching this video and you understand it, that means you're a human being. And if you're a human being, that means you've seen this movie. But there's something in my head that's telling me, no, don't spoil this movie for someone who may not have seen it. I'm just gonna say that when you find out what Snape is all about, it's just the most mind-blowing thing ever. When this film first came out, people were like, oh, Alan Rickman should get the Oscar because he deserves it because of that one thing he did in the movie. I don't know about that, although he totally should have gotten the Oscar because of what he did in the movie. It's just the most impactful shit you've ever seen. You look back, it's like you watch this and then you can go back to the beginning of the series and just watch Snape with a new perspective. It's awesome, just like all sorts of props to Alan Rickman in this movie. And yeah, of course, the final showdown between Harry and Voldemort is just the most epic shit ever. You really feel the weight of the past 10 years of Harry Potter movies, the past 20 hours of screen time have all been leading to this one moment of Harry versus Voldemort. It's just the most climactic battle of the decade. It is a little CG heavy, I will say that. This movie has the most CG out of all the Harry Potter movies, and it's definitely noticeable a couple of times, but it's not like it brings the movie down because the story is so good. I will admit that there is one scene from the book that I wanted to see in part 2 and it just wasn't in there. I'm not gonna spoil when it happens, but it's a scene where Harry is talking with the portrait of Albus Dumbledore, and it's this really heartfelt conversation, and I wanted to see that, and it just wasn't in there. And yeah, I actually did read the book for the 3rd time right before I saw this movie, which looking back, I really shouldn't have done. But in the end, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is just the biggest, most epic, climactic finale to a movie series I think I've seen yet. Oh, you know what? There is Return of the King. Alright, this is a really close second. As for the score in this movie, it's awesome. Like I said in my review of Part 1, Alexander Desplat composed the music for both parts of Deathly Hallows. And for Part 2, he brought in a brand new theme called Lily's Theme. Lily is Harry Potter's mother's name. It's just, that solo vocalist singing above the low strings. It gets you in the mood. Right when the movie starts, you're like, wow, I am in. I actually got this soundtrack before the movie came out, so as the movie was playing while I was watching it, I was humming along with the score. And that was just part of the fun of it. When I saw this in theaters, it was a party. It was the midnight premiere. There were a bunch of fans around. We were cheering. In fact, this is 100% true. Every time I watch this movie in particular, I still hear the applause in my head when certain things happen in the movie. It's that memorable. I think it's gonna go down in history. Everyone's gonna remember the first time they saw Deathly Hallows Part 2. It's not that often that a movie series will go along keeping audiences interested for 10 years and building up to a perfect finale that was just everything you want it to be. Is it my favorite movie of the entire series? No, it's not. I think that would have to be Goblet of Fire for me. But it is still, as I've been saying, a fantastic, fantastic conclusion to one of the best film series ever made. And thus concludes my reviews of the Harry Potter film series. So, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I know you've seen it, so what was the experience like for you? What is your favorite movie in the film series? Which Hogwarts house are you in? Oh yeah. Whatever your answer is to any or all of those questions, go ahead and leave a comment. Now bring on fantastic beasts and where to find them. And don't forget to subscribe.
Trivia. idea.
Potter Puppet Pals IMAX. That would be so awesome.
Mischief managed.